All right, let's just dive right into this. We're going to break down one of the most influential and, frankly, rapidly changing companies on the entire planet. And you should probably forget what you think you know, because the story of Reliance is a story of constant, massive transformation. To get a sense of the scale we're talking about, just look at this number. That's $125 billion in annual revenue. A figure that doesn't just put Reliance on the map, it makes it a major global player, one that's actively shaping the lives of hundreds of millions of people every single day. And that's the real question, isn't it? Because to understand Reliance today, you absolutely have to understand its incredible journey, how it started in just one single industry and used the power from that to build an empire that touches pretty much every part of modern life in India. So let's start at the beginning. We've got to look at the foundation that this entire empire was built on: oil and petrochemicals. This was the original cash machine that funded everything, and I mean everything that was to come. This right here is the heart of their original business, the Jamnagar refinery. It's a complex so massive, so incredibly efficient, that for decades it was the undisputed financial engine for the whole corporation. Seriously, you can think of it as the power source for the entire Reliance ecosystem. So for decades, this was the core identity of Reliance. They'd refine crude oil, turn it into valuable petrochemicals, and distribute fuel all over the world. This whole operation just generated this immense, steady flow of cash, year after year after year. But then, Reliance made a pivot. A huge, audacious bet that would redefine not just the company itself, but India's entire digital landscape. And this is where the story gets really, really interesting. In just a few short years, its new telecom company, Jio, did what many thought was impossible. It got over 500 million subscribers. But look, it wasn't just about offering cheap data. It was about totally changing the market. Jio turned internet access from a luxury into a commodity, bringing hundreds of millions of Indians online for the very first time and becoming the country's biggest mobile network in the process. Now, what's really wild about this is the sheer speed of it all. I mean, it shows how Jio went from being a brand new player in 2016 to an absolute dominant force, rolling out a nationwide 5G network by 2023. And now they've got plans for a huge IPO. That's a massive transformation in under a single decade. It's just crazy. So now, with hundreds of millions of people on its network, Reliance had the perfect launchpad. It had a direct connection to the consumer, and it was time to move beyond just building infrastructure and get into their everyday lives. First, the company built out Reliance Retail. It is now a massive network of both physical and online stores selling, well, everything you can imagine. Groceries, the latest electronics, high-end fashion. Let's just say if you're shopping in India, you are probably interacting with Reliance. And then it set its sights on media. Through a blockbuster merger of its assets with Disney's operations in India, it created an absolute entertainment and streaming titan, controlling a huge slice of what people watch on their TVs and on their phones. So, the crucial point is this fundamental shift you see right here. On one side, you've got the old Reliance, the industrial powerhouse built on oil, and on the other, the new Reliance, a digital, consumer-facing giant. It's an absolutely incredible corporate reinvention, funded by the cash from the old empire to build the new one. So, okay, after conquering oil, telecom, and retail, where does a company this ambitious even go next? The answer seems pretty clear. It's aiming directly at the future of energy. And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. Recent headlines show a massive investment push into the two areas that are pretty much going to define the next decade: artificial intelligence and, even more significantly, green energy. And let's be clear, this is not just some small side project. This is a core strategic pivot with a clear and incredibly ambitious deadline. For a company that was literally built on fossil fuels, to target net zero carbon in just over a decade, well, that's a monumental undertaking. And they're not just buying into the trend, they're building a massive complex to control the entire green energy value chain. From manufacturing the solar panels that generate power to producing green hydrogen, all the way to creating the advanced batteries needed to store that power. They want to own the whole process. So the key takeaway here is this. When you think of Reliance, don't just think of an oil company. Think of a conglomerate that has fundamentally transformed itself for the 21st century. It used one empire to build the next, and now it's positioning itself to lead the global energy transition. It's a dominant force, totally shaping India's economy. And this just perfectly illustrates their relentless, forward-looking ambition, leaving us with one final thought to chew on. Having already reshaped energy, telecom, and retail for a nation of 1.4 billion people, the question isn't really what Reliance is anymore, but what it's going to become.